Y'all want a T56 Magnum, huh? The internet says they're the greatest thing ever. Whew. This header over here sucks. Just so y'all know, the BBKs actually fit really good. They do not, and I repeat, do not fit good with a T56 Magnum. Ooh, I had to beat the out of these headers to get that to go, but it's in. At this point, it's it.
Sure to get down, good Lord. Paper got 'em open all over town. Stick the bishop, don't play around. Cover much ground, got game by the pound. Getting paid is a forte, each and every day. True play away, can't get her out of my mind.
All right, y'all, we're gonna go ahead and open up this box. This is our T56 Magnum from Hanlon Motorsports. I love a TKX. I almost went a TKX, but if we're being honest, the T56 Magnum is a little bit tougher, so we just went that route. Plus, it'll allow us to experiment with gearing a little better, so we can go with a steeper gear. This is the 266 first and 0.6. I'm going to take it completely out, but ooh, damn, she's pretty. You know the crazy thing, dude? It seems smaller than a TKX.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's my eyes deceiving me, but I swear
Or it just seems slimmer. Or I don't know.
It looks overall smaller than the TKX. We do have a Hanlon Motorsports shifter coming, so they have their own shifter, and we'll have that going on the car here pretty soon, as soon as they get them made. You guys have been buying these damn shifters up to the point where they can't keep them in stock anymore, so I am on the list at least. This is what we've been working with here for the longest time. Look at this old T5 up here, y'all. This thing is something that I cobbled together back about 6 years ago, probably, with some different pieces and parts, and it's been working great, honestly. But it's time for it to come on out. It does grind to go in some different gears and things like that. But we're gonna pull this thing out, put our new QuickTime bell housing. We've got a clutch coming from McLeod. So it's an RXT 1200 clutch coming from McLeod. And we're gonna get that thing in here, get everything indexed up just like we did on Berger's car. And we should be on the road with this here pretty quick. I just wanted to show you what we're working on. I'll come out here, pick up the video a little later and start pulling the transmission out. Today, we're gonna unbox some stuff from Hanlon Motorsports and hopefully get a T56 and a Calypso. Guys, I'm gonna be honest with you, I'm not feeling it today. It's one of those days. I think you guys can relate. Here's the thing, we gotta push through though, okay? So when this camera's off or we're doing time lapses, I'm gonna be listening to some good music and trying my best to get motivated today. All right, here's our QuickTime bell housing. You can't index this thing without an index plate, which we'll talk about here in just a few minutes. These damn blocking plates are ridiculous. These things are heavy duty. So y'all probably wonder all the time, like, why do you always highly tout Hanlon Motorsports? Like, what is the big deal? They're just a company, right? Well, no, they're not. They ask the questions. They say, hey, do you have everything that you need? This is the type stuff that you get when you got a good company that knows how to ask the right questions and knows what you need, right? And here's what I mean by that. So this is a clutch cable replacement clip. Look at that. They sell these. One of the few, or at least used to, one of the few that actually sell these things. So this is a roller pilot bearing. Pay attention to that. Ford. This is a Ram throwout bearing. This is the one that Hanlon runs in his car. Look at that, flywheel bolt set. See? All ARP stuff. Reverse lockout. Everything that we're gonna need to wire this thing up. The reason why I'm showing you guys all this is because I know you probably ask yourself the very question that I said before. So what makes Hanlon so special? Why are you always talking about them? Why can't I just use anybody? Look, there's a lot of great companies out there, okay? But Hanlon is definitely one of these companies that are going to make sure that you have the parts that you need when you call, and that's worth its weight in gold. You're not just picking the phone up and calling and saying, hey, I need a transmission. They're gonna say, hold up. So what's this going in? And then you tell them, like, well, did you think about this part? And you're like, oh, I didn't know I needed it. So transmission bell housing bolt kit, adjustable pivot stud. Now this is really nice. This gets that clutch fork exactly where you want it and get it parallel. Backup wiring harness. Just love it. Look at the little packaging and stuff. Look at that. Transmission mount bolt kit. So this will be for the trans mount, which we have a Stifler's. So that should work nicely with that. Not every one of you need all this stuff, okay? I understand that. But the point is, they got it. They got all this. So there we go. Let's talk about this QuickTime bell housing for a second. This is your index plate for the bell housing. So let's talk about this for a second. You stick your dial indicator through here and you're trying to run this thing around. That's not gonna work. You got a big opening here. You got all this stuff. It's not gonna work. So I think this is gonna go, yeah, like this, right? So now your dial indicator will run across this. All right, so that's all that is. Once you're done with this, you just put it to the side. As you can see back here in the car, we got a ton of other stuff. All this, well, not all this actually. We also have the Terminator X back here as well. So we still do have some parts for this car, but this is all the Whipple stuff for the Coyote. So we'll get to that at some point, but not right now. I'm not doing a full install of how to swap a T56 into a car. I just don't have time for that. We need to get through this thing. Guys, it's just nuts and bolts. I'll go through a few things with you. Are you following me? I feel like it's... We'll go ahead, we'll do some time-lapse stuff. We'll talk a little bit. Let's get started.
I'm gonna need y'all going over there to the drag swag. I done got a bunch of new stuff over there for you. To download some shirts. I think you're gonna really like what you see over there. Pick you up one or two. Your friends, they gonna be like, damn, boy, where you get that shirt from? You tell them in the drag swag. That's where I got it from. If they don't know where it is, send them the link.
From here, we're just gonna start removing everything from the bell housing. We're gonna go get a bunch of brake cleaner, some black paint. We're gonna try our best to clean this thing back up under here. So I'll get back with you guys once we get this bell housing removed. Dowel pin is, you know, doing dowel pin shit. There we go. You bastard. I know. Just take the damn header off. You can't tell me that son of a bitch won't come out. Yep, see, I told you it would. That's where my freaking starter broke before, and there was a piece of it rattling around in there. That's what that was. I knew it. I knew that. This is a O'Reilly special stock style clutch, if I'm not mistaken, or like AutoZone or somewhere like that. Picked this thing up and it's been holding the power of this car, you know, hitting it in second gear and things like that. It's been pretty damn tough, y'all. We got everything out, and man, we got to do some cleaning on this block on the back of it back here. I don't know if you guys can see it or not. There we go. It's kind of crusty and dirty. The back of that intake didn't like it sealed too good, but it actually is. Everything looks good. I don't think I'm going to replace the rear main seal. It looks like it's fine. Guys, I'm going to be honest with you. You got to be careful with these rear main seals now, because they will put a hurting on your If you don't get it right, you'll be right back in it. So if that thing's sealed up and looks pretty good, just leave it, in my opinion. I had an old starter in the car that took a shit. And check this out. Aubrey actually found this. Look at that. That's part of that starter that come loose and got up here and behind this. And look how hot it got. It actually turned it white. And if you guys know about zinc, like say for instance, you're trying to weld and you run into some zinc stuff, it'll like turn white and like string off almost like spider webs. So that's what happened there. It got that hot. Look, it was just about to go through. Anyway, that's what all this is. But that clutch though, look at this clutch, guys. That bitch held in there perfectly. I mean, now we weren't drag racing the car, but we hit it a few times from first gear with really tall gears in it. And if you guys know what I'm talking about, the taller the gear, the more stress it puts on this clutch and everything else, trying to move the car with such a tall gear. So I'm very impressed with that little clutch setup. So anyway, we're gonna go get cleaned up, run to the auto parts store, grab some more clean, and we'll be back. Man, I can't even listen to my Mac Miller for having a video. You guys better appreciate this. Ground down 10 millimeter, look at that. That is a horrible grind job, but I've had this thing for years and it works. Anyway, I will admit on this side of the car, on the passenger side, the headers are stupid easy, y'all. There's really not much to this. It does get a little aggravating in some spots, but you know, this car is 351 swapped. Now the driver's side, you really need manual brakes because it starts to become a nightmare over there. So I'm hoping that we can take off this side and squeeze that thing in there. We'll see, I don't know. Well, I guess I should have looked up whether these BBK headers would work with a T56 Magnum 351 Windsor swap, because it doesn't. Here's the issue that we've got, and I have already beat and banged on these headers till I'm almost not even comfortable with it anymore, but you know, it is what it is. So here's the issue. The eyelet right here for the bell housing is hitting the tube, and I have flattened it out pretty good, about as much as I feel comfortable with, and it's still really not clearing at all. There's still a gap up here. It needs to be pulled back. The other issue is this. This thing has a longer clutch fork. As you can see, this thing's huge. So if you try to get this down here and get it lined up, you don't really have any pivot capability. Maybe some. There's a possibility that we could dent the backside of this header a little bit here and give it some clearance, but it's hitting the backside of this header tube right there. So what does this mean? Well, it basically means that we got to buy some headers, more than likely. Maybe I can get you guys down here so that I can show you down there. You see the side of the bell housing? Those headers don't wrap around with tubes in front of the bell housing, like around it. So I'm thinking that they will work. Sadly, that is the one header that he's already got bolted up on his car, and I really hate to take that thing off to try it, but we may have to. I'm gonna talk to Berger today and see if he cares. If I can use these headers, then I'll just order him a new set, and he should be good to go because he's still waiting on a few things either way. Here we are. Look at this. I'll have to find a picture what it looked like before. That's getting really thin up there, but that'll be just fine. I know a lot of you are worried, that's not enough metal. I think it is. If not, I can always add a little brace to one side or the other to make it work. But yeah, that should be fine right there. Shaved it all back on the sides, and let me show you why. I was able to beat the header tube back enough to get this to go. I still want to massage it a little bit more, but I'm thinking if you line up this hole, which is actually the bottom hole here, if you line that up and pull this out, we should have enough swing here. This thing's not gonna sit back here. It's gonna sit pretty parallel. So I would say probably about right there is where it's gonna sit, and then pull forward. So I think we have enough room. If not, I can always dent this tube and the top of this one a little bit, but I think we're okay here. But it looks like these headers will work, but boy, is it a job. Just so y'all know, it's a job. Saved me a bunch of money there, hopefully. Hopefully. Y'all cross your fingers. Let's hope that this works, okay? Because boy, I need some luck here. I don't know, we'll see. It's like I always say, if you ain't rigging, you ain't riding. When is a modification like this the right thing to do? Well, honestly, when you don't have the damn money, when you gotta buy a set of $1,500, $2,000 headers, and then you gotta buy a different starter and hope that all that works, you know what? It's worth a chance to beat a $700, $800 set of headers. I know that sounds crazy, but you gotta do what you gotta do, guys. So we knocked that tube down, and I think we're gonna be okay, but there's probably gonna be some more modification that needs to happen before it's all finished up, but I don't care. I saved myself a bunch of money and a bunch of time. So what I'm gonna do next is get this bell housing off, put my flywheel in it, and try to index everything to make sure that we're good. That's gonna be a job, but I think we'll be okay. Hanlon has already sent a set of 7.5 thousandths offset dowel pins, which should get me back in line. It shouldn't be out that far, if at all. Y'all want a T56 Magnum, huh? The internet says they're the greatest thing ever. Whew. This has turned into an ordeal. It is what it is, though. I mean, we have to expect things like this, but I'm gonna be honest with you, I didn't expect it. Completely overlooked the clutch fork deal with a T56. We'll talk about that here in just a second. Right now, I'm gonna try to get this other header off because this is the header I should have pulled off to start with instead of the one that I did. So this is something else right here. I'll get back to you guys. We'll drop this header out and then we'll talk about the T56 swap. All right, as you can see, we've got the header off. This header over here sucks. Just so y'all know, the BBKs actually fit really good. They do not, and I repeat, do not fit good with a T56 Magnum. Maybe with a regular T56, more over here at the 7 o'clock position or 9 o'clock position, But as you can see, this clutch fork's gonna come down through here, so there's a bunch of stuff that got in the way. At the moment, I don't feel too confident that I'm not gonna completely like lose my shit. So I don't know how much of this I'm gonna video. I'm trying to stay positive because I always tell you guys, stay positive, you know? This is just one of those days though where your boy just ain't too positive today. It's just a, you know. So we got our T56 Magnum here and I've got it strapped down as best I can. I really need more people, but I don't have more people, so I'm just gonna run with what we got here. Who knows, guys? It may go right in. I doubt it. I doubt I shouldn't even have said that, honestly. Let's go ahead and get this out of the way. We don't want anything possibly coming close to interfering here. So your T56 is gonna be completely different than anything else that you're gonna be working on, right? But that's what this looks like. You put your clutch fork on first and it attaches to the actual transmission right here. And then your throwout bearing and all that just sits right there.
The original goes. Grandma says, clapped in church on Sunday morning. Grandma says, play the tambourine so well. But Grandma says, used to issue out a warning. She say, Billy, don't you run so fast. Might fall on a piece of glass. Might be snakes there in that grass. Sure to get down, good Lord.
Here we're easing in there. I think at this point, we might be able to start some bolts. So here's where we are right now, pretty close. What I'm gonna do right now is try to start a bolt and ease this thing in. Basically just kind of keep it from falling out as well. Guys, be extremely careful if you decide to do this because you can crack the case, you can crack the bell housing, whatever. Be extremely careful. I'm just gonna kind of work this thing up in there. I think we'll be good. This is gonna take a while, so I'm not gonna bother to video it, but once we get this thing up in place and bolted down, I'll show you. But it's just gonna be a little bit of this and a little bit of that and whatever else. This thing has drove me to smoking. So what I did, the easiest way to do this was find 2 longer bolts that would just slide through here, right? And then start tightening it down once I got it splined up. And once I did that, then I was able to put the OG bolts right here in. Okay, so that's what we got right now. Overall, it looks pretty good. Everything's nice and tight. I'm gonna try to go ahead and fit this header back up and see what happens. I'm not sure. Hopefully it goes, and if it clears, like we're in the home stretch. Here's the problem though. I've got a McLeod RXT 1200 coming for this thing, but I don't know when it's gonna be here. It could be weeks, it could be a month, it could be 2 days, so I'm not sure. So with that being said, all this has gotta come back out. Yeah, but I'm gonna go ahead for now, tighten everything up, get this header on, and try to button this thing up. So let's see what happens. Many hours later, here we are, guys. That is the clearance that we have. Can you see that clutch arm? Look. So it's tight, but we should be good. Woo, I had to beat the hell out of these headers to get that to go, but it's in. That's clearanced out. I mean, it's not ideal. I understand, but you gotta do what you gotta do. At this point, it's fuck it. This is gonna be real fun here to get that nut started on the backside, but we should be able to do it, hopefully. I don't know, we'll see. So I think this car's a little tweaked. It's tight right here on this, but I'm pretty sure this thing's been in a wreck because I mean, all this is just beat to hell over here. So I think it needs to shift forward to get it off of that, but it's just, this car has never wanted to work right whenever it comes to transmissions and stuff. This is your clutch fork, and that's not a very bad angle at all. See this? Should have plenty of throw. Granted, if we can get the nut back here started, it's gonna be fun. We have a McLeod clutch coming, and when we do, we're probably gonna go ahead and throw this adjustable pivot stud in just in case, all right? That way we can make sure that this angle is correct. Starter-wise, this just bolts right up, no problem whatsoever. Ooh, I need to tighten that up. You can see that. That's loose. Something I want to share with you guys is how to measure for your drive shaft. So we don't have a drive shaft that'll work at the moment. I put some load on the rear end and braced the front end of the car to simulate ride height as best I could. It really doesn't matter much, but it does some. Here's what you're gonna have to do to measure for your drive shaft. Now, you need to talk to the company that you're getting your drive shaft from. So Inland wants you to measure from the output shaft back to the pinion flange, which mine is 46.5. So all I've got to do is call up Handling and be like, hey, 46.5. They'll go ahead and get this thing made. I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this video up. It's been a hell of a day. I'll get back out here. Oh, I forgot to tell you, I did index the bell housing and it was about 6 thousandths off. 6 is close enough for me. Plus my dial indicator is not the best, and I did the best I could do, but it looks like we're gonna be pretty much within spec. So maybe a thousandths off, so sue me. I don't know what to tell you. I'm tired. If it was 10 thousandths or something like that off, sure. But being 6 thousandths, I'm not gonna worry about it. That's just gonna have to wrap this one up because we've got to order a drive shaft, and that's gonna take probably a couple of weeks. And in the meantime, I'll be finishing up some little stuff like this. We got to get back on Berger's car as well. And we also have the supercharger for the 21. Something I want to leave you with though, before we wrap this video up, is it's days like this that's going to push you. You're going to want to give up. You're going to want to just say, you know, you're going to be so tempted to say to hell with this. It'd be so much easier not to mess with these cars. And you'd probably be right. There's a lot better things in life to be doing sometimes than working on these cars, but at the same time, if you start something, you need to finish it. We're gonna finish this up. It's gonna be fun. I'd say the majority of the work's already done. I, for one, can't sleep at night knowing that I've got all this work ahead of me, so best thing to do is go ahead and finish it up. What I'm gonna do tonight is go ahead and finish up the other header, get it all buttoned up, everything tight, and literally just be waiting on a drive shaft. I may even go ahead and start the damn thing up, open header and all that. Who knows? All right, look, I'm gonna wrap this video up. And as always, I'm so used to somebody being out here. Thanks for watching.